Wednesday, December the 22nd, 5:30 p.m. We're going to delay for just a few more minutes until Commissioner Holland can join us, and she's probably within a couple of blocks, so bear with us. Get your popcorn for this thoroughly. For rushing and disrupting your evening to be with us. Appreciate that. Item 1 is the city appointment to the Economic Development Partnership. This is a vacancy that has been open for a year, really. This would be the city's representative to the EDP, who has a meeting once a month. And so, floor is open for any nominations or any volunteers.
I mentioned to the mayor that I would volunteer to fill that seat, you know, in its current state and as it progresses into whatever it's going to progress into. So I'll be happy to do that, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes if somebody else had their heart to set on.
No, but I would like to thank Commissioner Holland for saying if nobody else would, she would, and I appreciate that very much. So we need any other comments? I'll take a motion on that, Commissioner Atkins.
Oh, I move to appoint Commissioner Cottle.
Unless you want to be in that too.
I move to appoint Commissioner Cottle to fill the
Okay.
vacancy on the EDP board.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's made. Is there a
Second.
second? Any discussion? I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Did you want, were you okay? Because we talked about it.
Well, if he volunteered to do the EDP, that's fine, and I'll volunteer to do the EDA if that becomes an issue, but right now, that's the only position that's vacant, so.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Congratulations, Commissioner Carter. I'd like, if you all don't mind, because I think item 2 is going to take a little bit longer than item 1 or 3. I'd like to move 3 up to 2, if that's okay.
Yeah, we're not supposed to.
Special call.
Oh,
meeting.
special call meeting. Okay. Well, let's discuss the possible amendment to the EDA. This was a discussion that arose 2 months ago. The thinking was, since the city manager is going to be part of pretty much every discussion that the EDA does, that we would be better served by amending the ordinance to have another commissioner on that board. The floor is open for discussion first, or y'all want to make a motion first and then discuss? I don't care.
To restate for the record, currently the board is made up of a joint appointment, city-county, the mayor, the city manager, an at-large, county judge, a magistrate, and an at-large, for a total of 7 members. And so what you're suggesting is that you replace the city manager potentially, that's what your recommendation is with a commissioner position? Is that what you are starting with?
That is not my recommendation. That is,
Up for discussion.
you're right.
So I kind of brought this up, so I will start. We were so specific in our appointments on the EDP in order to have the best representation possible and the strongest position for the taxpayers that I felt like it was really important to kind of have the same position in starting this EDA and to have the best possible position for the city and the taxpayers that we represent. The city manager is going to be there for implementation no matter what. So I feel like it's a little bit of a conflict for the city manager to also be a voting member, but then also be implementing. So I feel like it gives better representation for the seats to be mayor, commissioner, and someone at large, which if we have a mayor and commissioner there, the at-large appointment would need to be a non-commissioner, because then we couldn't have a quorum. So I really wanted to have this discussion before a name was floated, but a name's kind of already been floated. So,
But that's on item 3.
right. So anyway, I just feel like it puts the city in a better position, not only for representation, but communication as well.
Earl, you got any comment?
So those are open meetings, and Earl would just attend as a citizen or participate
Staff,
somehow? Or?
I mean, that would be. there's gonna
Technically,
be
I wouldn't be required to attend, which is fine by
Right.
me.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, they have discussions about the bylaws upcoming, and, they need to decide, you have economic development staff that need to be rehired. What role are they going to play in the organization also? So there's a lot of questions out there on what roles are filled administratively and who are filling those. And so I probably can't attend until told not to, until that, or continue to do if asked. It doesn't bother me at all.
Well, as it stands, you are supposed to attend as the.
As of
the
today,
ordinance-
yes.
Yeah, as the ordinance reads.
Yep.
But I would venture to say that if the ordinance is changed, you're gonna be there. I don't think anybody would be, well, as you get into conversations about particular industry or company needs, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Well, and implementation is going to be a big thing for city manager and staff of the county. And, so staff should be more there for support and how to implement what the board decides. That's just what I think.
I'm fine either way. We have 3 representatives. Whatever you guys think, you more experienced folks.
Gage, Kevin?
I'm waiting on
Silence.
you.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I'm waiting
Well,
on you,
I-
K-State.
I can't remember, I was trying to remember back when we did the draft, and we had lots of discussions about this, and this was discussed back then both ways. So it doesn't bother me. I understand the rationale for wanting a commissioner to be there to balance out county representation, county involvement, but
So what are you saying, sir?
again, if and when someone makes a motion to do this, then I'll cast a vote for or against. Earl said it doesn't matter to him, so I can go with a commissioner being appointed.
How about I make a motion? Will that help?
Well, that would be appropriate, yes.
Powell's comment first?
That's-
If he's gonna
We
make
can wait.
one?
I mean, we can make the motion, I can
Make a motion in a second, then everybody's going to the floor.
I move that we amend our EDA ordinance language to make our representatives the mayor, a commissioner, and an at-large member.
Is there a second to that? Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Now, Commissioner Carlock, if you wish, or Mr. Atkins lead off, or anybody else.
Well, to me, I remember the discussion we had, and my thinking was, had to do with continuity, that in most cities anyway, the city manager is there longer than the elected officials, and there may be times, some of these projects take a long time, and that it might be nice to have somebody who's been there from the beginning to see it to its end. But, I'm not going to pull out the voodoo dolls or anything. It's just, I don't have a problem with the commissioner on there. I know we had talked about, you could have the mayor, the city manager, and then the at-large person could be a commissioner. But, again, I'm not going to stress over this one.
If I recall the conversation, I floated the idea of the mayor, past mayor, and the at-large. And I think that's when, and I did that, I thought for continuity's sake, but that's when it kind of shifted, and that's fine. It's whatever you all decide.
It seems like to me somehow that, and maybe it's just me, but it seems like we got off track on something else with this and with this conversation. And then I didn't really know how we ended up with, we were having the discussion about whether the city manager should be a voting member or not. And I thought that we voted to make it mayor, commissioner, and city manager. And then when the ordinance came back, it said mayor, city manager, and at-large. And the at-large member could be a commissioner, but maybe just a citizen. But I just feel like, especially starting out, that you need as much input and communication there as you can get, so.
Yeah, again,
Call-
I'm not
call-
going to,
Can we call for the question?
You better call for the
I'm
question.
not going to stress it.
Question's been called. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign.
No.
Motion carries.
The motion that passed opens up for a commissioner to be the second member.
That is correct.
Okay.
What will happen is we'll bring that on the January 10th meeting with the corrected language, and then hopefully Stephen can get it done by the 10th meeting. I'm assuming he can. And then ultimately, that would have to be re-signed by the county, I think, but we'll look into that and be prepared.
That brings it to item 3, which is the city appointment to the EDA. And I had shared with fellow commissioners that Erin Tipton of Bluegrass Community and Technical College, I believe Earl, is she president?
I don't know.
She's number 2 in that system, I think.
She's like
I
a,
truly can't remember her
Anyway,
title.
she brings 2 things, 3 things. One, she's very bright. 2, there's an educational and workforce aspect to it. And 3, thus far, that is a committee of all men, and we certainly could use her representation in that regard.
she's been very involved with the Workforce Development Committee, with EDP
So-
and in the community.
So let me make that motion and
Oh.
see if we get a second, and then we can have any other comments. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second.
I'm
Ma'am.
second.
Now we're in discussion.
Excellent choice. I looked her up. Mayor, at one meeting, you had mentioned when we have appointees to any committee to sometimes do a write-up. I think a lot of us were able to research her easily, whereas other committees, it was hard to look up. So in the future, if we can get write-ups for our appointees, because I really want to make sure I know who I'm voting for. Even just Googling this gal and looking up newspaper articles, I'm very thankful she's willing to give her time. So, good choice.
Yeah, that's been pretty standard in the past, is some kind of background or introduction.
We would normally have that done. Ashley
Yeah.
would normally do that, and I assume this time it's partly because she's not here tonight, so.
Yes.
I think Erin's first class. I mean, we need her, her resources that she can bring to bear, and, workforce development is a huge part of what we're gonna do going forward. My only question is, should we say she's being appointed to the EDA? We don't really know what the EDA or the ED whatever is gonna look like. Can we say we just gonna nominate her to one of the, where she's best suited, or, that's my, I guess we could always change her and
Well,
move
no,
her over, but.
You need to fill the
wherever.
position on the EDA board, and the bylaws then will come from her input.
She will be our at-large appointee,
Correct.
representative.
But I could, well, I'm not gonna.
Which there's
again,
still ongoing discussion the EDP is talking about, and we're still, the EDA will ultimately recommend what role, and there's a lot of that dialogue. That was purpose for the trip to Henderson, and on how all of those integrate into each other over time. And so I know that the EDP is actively wanting to talk about structure for them, and so that's going to be an ongoing conversation for a while. The EDA board is not the EDP board. That is a separate
Right.
agency, correct?
And they can't really do anything until we make our official appointments.
Correct. Well,
They
and
really need to
once you
meet.
get them, then they, we want to bring bylaws to the table, let those be adopted, then fully organize, then start to discuss their own mission and scope and
Right.
organize
So-
themselves.
And so we're making our official appointments so that they can start doing that.
Call for the question, Mr. Mayor.
Question's been called. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. I believe that concludes our 3 agenda items. I personally want to thank staff and my fellow commissioners for this brief meeting, but we want to get these odds and ends done. And with that, to the public, I want to wish you all a happy, healthy Merry Christmas, and see you in the new year. With that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Holland, Commissioner Terry. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.